Hey everyone, it's Daniel here again with another solo recording. I promise you that Michael and Aaron will be back in the studio next week, but until then, I had a chance to hang out with my good buddy Darren Cooper of 1898 Creative. He's got a video production and podcast production company, and we just talked about the way that the creative industry is changing and the way that connection and trust are missing, and it's something that people crave. And we also spent some time talking about why his kids have such unusual names. It's all that and more here on Truth Take. From Indianapolis, Indiana, this is Truth Take. How's your podcasting going?
Good. I got 10 episodes in. I do a bi-weekly a bi-weekly, but then I segment out the other 2 weeks. So we'll talk for 45 minutes and then I find a 8 to 10 minute cut that I repackage
For the alternate week, for the empty week.
Yeah. So weeks 2 and 4 of the month are usually that way. It's good. I'm starting to dial in a little bit. I think we're going to really, from a business standpoint, we're going to really lead with our podcast production offers, even more than just our basic video production stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I love it, man.
Are people
stuff.
signing on to that like crazy? I mean,
like,
and I don't just mean you. I mean, like, I see multiple podcast focused companies popping up, and not to mention that there are a bunch of people that are doing podcasts their own way. Are people looking for podcast production?
Yeah.
Companies?
Yeah, I mean, you're strong enough in what you do that you understand this process.
Yeah.
But what our kind of bread and butter that we're going for are the folks that are, established coaches or consultants in some way, right? And they're going, I have 1,000 different things to do. I just want like somebody to just do it. I just want to show up and talk.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our person. And ultimately, when you find those types of people, they're like, I got the money I can spend to not have to hassle with this. And our goal is that we break everything down, post everything too, so you actually get content just beyond just the podcast. You get the segments, you get the reels, we're actually walking through and doing like blog posts for them, LinkedIn posts, tweets, like all that kind of stuff.
So you're
too.
Extracting other content from that podcast.
Yep. So you show up and just have 4 conversations or 2 conversations, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
So it's a specific type of person.
Well, and even if you have the tech savvy, it's really nice to have someone that can do that in no time flat.
Yeah. And so I'm launching a offer now that's like a podcast launch offer. In 4 weeks, we'll get everything done from start to finish. We'll either launch it or relaunch it. We'll run it through our process. We'll get everything good. You have everything that you need to do this continually. But ultimately, like, my goal is that, that'll be kind of the tip of the spear, right? And get a bunch of people in, or the bottom of the funnel, top of the funnel, and get a bunch of people in there. And then we get 10% of people to go, hey, just keep doing it for us.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the goal. I want to really ramp that up, as well as do the other kind of one-off projects, like the kids' voice stuff and all that kind of thing. So it's wild.
Cool. So when I think about what I see happening in podcasting today, it is hot like Twitter was hot in 2008. It's hot like blogging was hot in 2006. It is just unbelievable the number of people that are starting a podcast either as a just everyday Joe as a hobby, or professionals in some field that are creating some kind of media product within their business, either as a marketing tool or as a component of their business. And it makes me think about, I've been thinking a lot about where marketing is going overall. And so that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about today. So you've got this theme, create your art, that you've been, that's been your mantra for a while.
Yeah. If you can't see, I got a hat on right now,
Tell us what create your art means.
Yeah.
And where did that come from?
Oh man, you're going to put me on a soapbox here for a minute, but I think where this stemmed from is a little bit of just my makeup, my personality, that I look around and I see artists and I see people. Like, I grew up as a musician, right?
Yeah.
You and me both. Grew up as a musician and loved watching other people create things. I loved, seeing how somebody would put a song together or see things happen in that way. And I really enjoyed that process. And I think I'm an encourager by nature. So like that started to kind of seep into, man, dude, that song's really good. I like that. You should write more. And like starting to see them, go, man, nobody's ever told me this is good. And like now they start to step into it. Right. So it's a little bit of that, but ultimately I have this belief that we're all artists in our own way.
Yeah.
I always tell the story that I think it was my 8th grade biology teacher. I did not like biology. I did not like school. I didn't want to be there.
Who did?
No, it was
hate school.
awful, right? It was terrible.
I regret ever going.
I know. It was like, why did I do that? But she had this way of like bringing me in. Like, I loved biology in 8th grade because she was my teacher.
Because somebody made it
the way
beautiful.
that she talked about it, the way that she like brought it to life, the way that she put it together. And I always go back to that because I go, man, she was an artist. And because she created her art, my life was a better thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think of that in much bigger ways than just art or just music now. I look at it and I go, you in marketing, you are an artist in that, right? Yeah. And when you do that really, really well, your clients are better. Your life is better. Their life is better. And so it kind of like, I didn't realize I was saying that a lot until somebody pointed it out a few years ago. I was like, oh yeah.
You didn't notice the hashtag
I
in
didn't,
every post?
Yeah, I was like, I would do it every once in a while just to be funny. And then somebody was like, I think they said it to me in passing. They're like, yeah, create your art. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I do say that, So it kind of like,
You didn't know that you actually had a hat on.
Yeah. I never read the hat, Oh man. But no, it's a thing that if we embrace across the board, right? And in every aspect of life, whether you're a teacher, whether you're an artist, whether you're in marketing, whatever it is, if you embrace the artist in you, I think the world becomes a better place. And so I want to encourage as many people as I can to go out there and create their art, because it's just something inside of me.
Well, I when I first saw that, when you first started kind of posting that mantra, I thought that it was when you were starting your business.
Yeah.
And you were trying to find your way, trying to figure out like what is the product that I have.
For sure.
And I mostly felt like you were just trying to tell yourself.
100%.
You're speaking to yourself, and you were taking this idea of, hey, I'm trying to give myself a pep talk. I might as well share this pep talk with other people.
100, dude. 100, and I think about it in the way that, like, I guess there's something to that often the things that you help others do in your business or in your marketing materials is like, they always say, talk to yourself, right? Like,
it comes out of what you've been exercising on your own.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of my years, growing up as a musician, I wasn't the most prolific songwriter, but I wanted to be. And so I was trying to find my way in that. And then I kind of found like, oh, maybe music production is a thing that I could do. I can help the songwriter bring that thing to life. And then it was like, oh man. So I think I always downplayed my abilities because it was like, well, I can't do what I thought I wanted to do. So I'm not that kind of person. And finally getting in that place of going, no, there's something inside of me. There's the things that I have in my hands, in my mind, and my abilities that I can share. And so it really did come, it stemmed from, you're exactly correct. It was me talking to me that kind of became something that was I don't want to say bigger than myself because it's not huge, but it's become a mantra now.
But it's an idea. Ideas are always bigger than us if they're good ideas. And so I think that even if you feel like you want to downplay it by saying, I came up with this idea. Yeah. But the thing is, what you did is you accessed this idea that is available to everyone and made it into a repeatable thing.
I just bought a hat. I just
Did you find the hat?
I made the hat.
You executive produced the hat.
I executive produced the hat. I bought 25 of them and I was like, I'm going to give these to all my friends. And what happened was I wore one and then it got really dirty. So
And
then
you
I
needed
wore another one. And that's happened like 2 or 3 times now. And people are like, dude, that hat's really lasting. I'm like, yeah, it's crazy how it works,
Yeah.
But no, I own a lot of them.
Nice. So the I totally relate to this whole idea of looking at helping other people do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent my entire life essentially exploiting other people's talent.
Yeah.
When I was even when I was just a teenager, my brother he would tinker with bikes, and he was so good with figuring out how to repair a bike, and I was like, you know what, we should start a business where we repair bikes for all the neighbors. And I said, I said, I'll do the sales, I'll run the business, I'll manage the books, which I didn't know the term books. It was just like making up words.
I heard somebody say books once. It sounded cool.
Yeah. And so and then you can do all the labor.
Yeah.
And he was like, no.
I don't like this. This is not a good trade-off.
But that process continued through my entire life until I eventually had an advertising agency where I'm like, okay, there's someone who's great at this thing, and there's someone who's great at that thing, and I'd put together a team, and I always had a vision for what to create, but I needed these other creators.
Yes.
But lately, I've been, especially, I wouldn't say overnight, but slowly over time, I've been wanting to put more and more of my own time into creating. And lately I've been really obsessed with filmmaking. So I've started to buy all this gear.
All right. Yeah. It's happening.
But it's
the bug has bit you, buddy.
I know. But it's all mobile based. So you see the gimbal here. For the listener, we've got a mobile Hohem brand mobile gimbal.
Yeah.
Professional grade, but it's designed for the iPhone or for a smartphone. And it has AI tracking, so you can use it to track yourself, so you don't have to have a cinematographer behind it. But anyway, I've got things delivering today that I've been like stalking.
It's post Christmas, man. It's like you're like all the things are showing up.
So I got a lighting kit coming in.
You're in it now.
Yeah. So, and I'm studying the whole art of filmmaking. And one of the things that I was really blown away by is, did you know that Steven Soderbergh actually created, he did the Ocean's 11, the Ocean series. And then he's done a bunch of other movies. Sex, Lies, and Videotape was the one that back in the late 90s that made him, made him famous. But he shot 2 mainstream films on iPhone.
Has he really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild.
So back in 2017, he shot 2017 or something, 2018, he shot a movie called Unsane. I think that was the one that was in 2017 on an iPhone 7.
Dude, just think of that, because when I hear you saying shot on an iPhone, I'm thinking like in the last few, models.
Right.
You're saying an iPhone 7, which was probably not that great.
Right. Well, and what he did is he got an anamorphic lens. You had these external lenses that you could put on it, and then you've got a cinema-ready camera.
Just did it. Yeah.
And then he shot another one after that on an iPhone 8, like 2 years later. And what I think is crazy about that is that it used to be that filmography was, you had these trucks.
Oh yeah.
Just to hold the camera gear. Yeah. Because not that
you had to rent the truck.
Yeah. Just for the camera.
Yeah.
Because they're so damn heavy, and there's, big rolls of film.
Yep.
And it's like $6,000 worth for an hour of film.
Yep. Doing all kinds of
$6,000,
things, right? Yeah.
And then when things went digital, at first everybody's like, yeah, but it doesn't have the same feel.
It's not the same.
And now everything's digital. and people still use film because they love it. They like
Yeah.
the texture.
It's their
whatever.
process and what they
and
like
they
to do.
have the ability to put that extra
Yeah.
time and money
Yeah.
into it.
For sure.
But it just makes too much sense to do things on digital mediums.
Yeah, man, and that's what I tell a lot of folks now, especially with working in helping other people produce podcasts or do videos or do other things, or hey, you need to create content for your business or create content for what it is that you're trying to promote. And it's just so easy now.
Yeah.
It's just so easy. All the platforms are
it's easy to be bad at it too.
For sure. Now you got to look at the process of the content. It's not just, it used to be I had to get all the framing right and the lighting and all the gear right, plus learn how to be good. Now it's like, well, that's all taken care of. You can pull your phone out of your pocket and get to going. Now it's like, how do we tell better stories? How do we hook people in? How now the art of that process is more in the tangibles, the storytelling, the marketing.
I feel like it was in the early days of filming. It was, do you know how to crank this at the right speed so that our film is the right number of frames per second? And of course I wasn't around then, so maybe I'm describing that wrong. But it was
we were not alive then.
It was so technical, and so there was such a barrier to entry.
Yes.
And now it's all about, do you have an eye for something?
Yes.
You don't have to spend years learning the equipment.
Yeah.
Do you have the eye?
Yeah.
Do you have the vision? Do you have are you a storyteller?
Yeah. And that's my story. I was a music producer. I'm about to turn 42 years old. I was a music producer till 38. Like that was what I was trying to do with my life. And I woke up one day tired of chasing artists for $100, going, I got to provide for all 4 of my children and all this stuff. Right. And just saw there was a camera there, and I very similar to what you did. I picked up, I started ordering gear, got a lighting thing. One thing turned to a next. How do I make this better? Watching a video, doing this. And that became the new thing that I was doing. But ultimately it was like the barrier of entry was so low. Yeah. Like I wasn't the guy that grew up, I was producing videos when I was 7 because I just loved the medium. Right. No, I was much later in life. And that because the barrier was low, I was able to get in at a relatively easy way. Yeah. And start to build something beautiful from it. Yeah. And so it's wild what you can do now.
Well, I remember back in the days when Bosick was just basically scratching the itch as part of my team at Redwall.
Yeah. Same idea.
And then he just has natural talent. And so in a matter of maybe 2 years, he went from, we can get some decent 3-minute videos for a nonprofit to like killer. We did major, broadcast commercials. Yeah. And it was kind of cool to see that happen. And the whole time I always wanted to be really hands-on, but I also had to go focus on sales. Yeah. I had to go get,
because you got to
keep everybody busy, and then schmooze the clients, be there to essentially, make sure everybody feels comfortable that I've got my eyes on the ball, but everybody else was the talent getting it done. Yeah. And and it was just a few years later then you're doing video and
I like to say that Adam was an early adopter and I am a late bloomer. Yeah. And so like we kind of had the same paths of like he was doing music and then he was like, oh, I can do all this other stuff and make money and do the things. And I was like a decade later, I was like, hey, I could go this way and do all this. So I'm a little late bloomer, but hey, better late than never, they say. So,
and so do you ever, do you ever struggle with the whole idea of becoming a part of the family business?
Oh yeah.
And because you have the opportunity to do your own thing or to work for the family's, well-established business. Yeah.
Well established.
Tell me about that struggle.
Yeah, man. The struggle is real there. I always laugh because I'm like, I tell Lauren, my wife, all the time, I'm like, I wish I was just okay working the 9 to 5 and coming home and putting my feet up on my couch and going and letting it go. Right. Yeah. But there's something inside of me. My dad was a serial entrepreneur. long before he built this established business or nonprofit over the last 30, 40 years, right? But before that, he was very much a risk taker. He was doing investments, and he was crazy. I always tell the story. He came home and told my mom after lunch one day that he quit his job and was going out on his own. So like, that's how my mom found out that this was happening. Right. Like, and then I'm building this business on the,
she's like,
on the side.
Did you give him 2 weeks?
No, it's like, he was done, And so then a few weeks back, as I'm building this business, my mom's like, you sure you don't want to like the stability and all this? And I was like, Mom, aren't you married to the guy that showed up and told you he quit his job after lunch? It's like, I'm his son, like this is what it is. But no, the struggle is real, man, because there is stability is something that I appreciate and I enjoy. And I wouldn't say that I'm like most entrepreneurs that, like, dude, like yourself, I mean, Redwall and all the things. I mean, you just built it. You cut the ties, you did the thing. You said, I can do this. And you were grinding from day one.
Right.
I was very much like, I had a stable thing and I had my foot in that boat, and then I was building this thing on the side, and it was kind of like this teeter-totter back and forth thing. Which boat am I going to get in? Because there are days when building a business is tough that you go, man, stability is just so, it's just so like bright and shiny and looks cool and like all of that. And I got to be honest, man, I've tried my hand to build something and then have gotten scared and gotten back in the boat just because it's easy.
Yeah.
And not until I found video and realized that this is a service that people will actually pay for, where music production, I'm chasing guys for $100 and it's like, okay, I can't really go all in on that. But now that I've done video, there's like there's a foundation there that works. Yeah. And so that allowed me to get a little bit more comfortable on the side of like abandoning ship and kind of going, let's burn the boats and go all in. But dude, it's been a wrestle. It's been a struggle. And there are days that I go, should I just go get the comfort thing and like take care of the but every time I go back to comfort, it takes about 3 to 6 months before I start to get agitated again. Yeah. Like I got to go build something. I got to go do something. I got to go, security's not it. Like you get frustrated with the process and the things that are being done inside of the organization. And you're like, oh, you guys got to do something. You got to go this way. And you're like, okay, I just got to go build my thing. Yeah. Because it's a constant cycle. And like I said, I'm a late bloomer. So some people might've seen this earlier in their careers where I'm 42 going, I think I'm finally ready to just go like burn the bridges and let's go.
Yeah. And I was 24 when I quit working for people. And even, I sold my business and worked for the company I'd sold it to for a while. And even that felt like a lease. Like I was leasing my employment to them.
Yeah. And that was not the goal. A few months in, you're like, I got to go do something else.
Well, I felt like a partner, and I did stick around for a long time. But the whole point is, it has been a long, long time. Now, I was 24 years old when I truly had a job, and it hasn't always been it's never been stable. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like even when it was stable, it's never stable. Yeah.
Even when it was good, there was still like there's something lurking back here. Like what's about to drop.
Well, I have a friend who was a very successful employee, CMO, climbed the ladder with some really great companies in the software business, and he's done really well for himself. And he was in a line of work where they're like, hey, we're creating a culture, we're treating you like family. And then they can you when, stock prices are down or when investment is thin. Yeah. And then it's like, well, good luck, man. Yeah. You really did a great job here.
Thank you for your time.
I'll post on LinkedIn about it to help you find something. Yeah. And there's no stability anywhere. No. Stability is only a mirage for the time that the shoe hasn't dropped yet.
Yeah. And it's so true. And I think what happens is in those that are climbing the corporate ladder, it is not bad.
Right.
Those that are doing what your friend did, there's still that risk. of you could get let go at any day. You're one phone call away from something crazy happening. But for us that are a little bit more like we have to kind of go rogue and build, it is part of who we are, and you have to be okay with who you are, who you're like created to be, right?
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
to kind of know that, and know that, okay, this path, I just have to go this path because this is what it is. And you have to kind of figure out how to ride those waves, and and trust that ultimately you're not, it sounds so risky. Like, yeah, you could lose it all.
Yeah.
But you're not
could
dead
lose it all.
You're not dead. You're not
that's
like,
right.
You've had a lot of days in business that you go, we're done. We're done. But yet you keep building, you keep going, you keep doing.
Yeah.
And when you keep your eyes up, like something just works, you know? And it's crazy, but it's wild. There's so many days I wish I could just go climb the ladder and be cool with it. But
now, what is the thing that keeps you from just totally melting those boats so that you can't go back? Because I know that your family is a client, and I would do the exact same thing. Like, this is not critical by any means. They're a great company, great client. They need the things that you do. But anytime you have a biggest client, I assume they're your biggest client. It doesn't matter if they are or aren't, but anytime you have a biggest client, you're at risk.
100.
And
I've had a lot of friends lose everything because one client dropped them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, but it's the next best thing to just being an employee for your family's company. And then you can do a few side gigs.
And that's the way it's been set up, behind the curtain a little bit. That's the way it's been set up for the last probably 2 years or so, 2-3 years, where my income, my W-2 income comes from them, and I just do the work and build the business, right? That's how they quote unquote paid for their services. But now we've switched that. Now they're a client, but they're paying for the things that they need, and not like, oh, we need this and you're on salary, so come do this, right? Now it's like, no, these are the things that we offer.
The scope of work, we're quoting the next thing.
You got to communicate in the lines of channels. You got to do the thing. It's not like, yes, brother, when you call, I will help. But ultimately, like, there are, it's the next level.
Does that change in paperwork make does that create a difference between the way that you interact with company and client?
It does, because in twofold it does. One, because the paper forces you to, and two, because their organization has changed enough where it's not just me and my brother sitting around talking about what videos they need to make. Now they have a team of people and a process of people. So everybody's kind of 2-3 steps removed at this point. And it's like, okay, now it's more client relation, and we'll ultimately grow in that front.
I can see that being really good, because you don't want to pass up on that business, but you do want it to be a healthy component of your business.
And dude, it's such. I've struggled for years to officially cut ties, right? And now in this season that we have, obviously it's nerve-wracking, but it's also it's leveling up the relationship across the board, right? It's leveling up all of that, where it's just like, no, we don't do it that way. This is our process, or things like that. Still a little murky. Still, there's a little bit of benefit of the doubt across that, but ultimately, right now, as we sit today, it's the best of both worlds. And to your point, they're not the biggest client, actually. Believe it or not. Wild to say out loud, right? Wild to say out loud. So
that's incredible. That means you're succeeding. That means it's working. So what's the makeup of your company? Because I don't know how much it's changed since we last talked. How many people you got on staff, all that kind of thing.
No, it's still relatively small. I mean, we're not doing crazy numbers. We haven't broke 1 million or anything for the year. Maybe one day soon.
It's only January.
It's only January, and we haven't broke 1 million yet, man. I'm really bummed out. It's January.
It usually
2nd,
takes me 6 weeks to hit the 2 million mark.
No, it's me primarily. I got a buddy of mine that works as what we'll call a fractional COO. So he does all of my
Your boy down
operations.
in Atlanta?
My buddy Dustin Peed. Shout out to Dustin Peed at Chief Creative Consulting. So he does a lot of my operations because I'm not that guy. I struggle with the details, if you will. So he's kind of helped organize and streamline SOPs and processes and all that kind of stuff. So he's been working with me for a couple of years now. And then we have just some freelance editors that work with us. And so that's it. And so this year is going to be a big year of building, production assistants to come along.
Yep.
Would love to have a production manager at some point that just handles all of that, where I can do sales and
do you want those roles to be full-time?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I love working with guys like from a production assistant or production manager, like if they had their own thing that they were building and this became a 20% or 30% or even 50% of their business was coming from what we were doing, I'm okay with that. Because again, back to the start of our conversation with the create your art thing, like I want you to be out there doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? And if our business can help you in that way, maybe you want to quote unquote climb the corporate ladder within the organization. Maybe we'll get to that place. I don't know. I don't know.
And I can tell you, I've owned companies with as many as 22 employees, which is that's still a really small company.
Yeah.
I've worked for companies with thousands of employees. And in my experience, it's in 2025, which is over now, 2026 now. I don't think headcount is the way anymore. When I started in the advertising business, I thought it was. I was building a business to get headcount. Yeah. And my goal was to get to about 50 and stay there and keep that, unless, we broke into some major brands that required us to, book up to.
Yeah. And that would be, not the exception, not the rule at that point.
But in the creative industry, obviously if you're building cars, you probably need to fill a factory full of people,
different animal
robots and or humans to create those cars. But in the creative industry and in those intangible industries, the gig work is so easy to create a nice, healthy system of creative. Yeah. I was catching up with a friend who owns an agency that is. They're probably up to 85 people right now.
Dang.
And he is having a great time.
Yeah, loves it.
He bought the agency and has grown it since then. And by my read, he's loving life and really enjoying the process. But he's also sort of said, sometimes I wish I could just do what you're doing and just go do a one-man shop.
Yeah.
And I love the one-man shop thing because it gives me more choice. More choice.
Yeah. Yeah. You have way more freedom on it. And I think for me, I lean that direction a little bit, maybe with the exception of one or two guys that are really like on a roll with you, whether it's a partner of some sort or whether it's I think of my buddy Dustin, like you've helped me from the beginning. So maybe you're still doing your thing, but a majority of your income's coming from myself in some way or this business. Yeah. So they have a little bit more buy-in. But I like the idea of, because again, to me, it always goes back to just having like helping as many, especially in the creative industry, right? Yeah. Helping as many creatives find and leverage and build the thing that they want to build, right? Yeah. And for us, it might not be you you're getting your 401k funded by us, right? That might not, we might not be that for you. There's some other organizations that will, but for us, it might be just let us like breathe life into what you're trying to do, and we can supplement some of that stuff. And maybe you outgrow us one day, and maybe you don't, and that's beautiful too.
I have some friends that work in the film business out in Hollywood, and one of the things that I see out there is it is a huge industry filled with freelancers. The whole business is freelancers. Yeah,
Oh,
you've
yeah.
got these small production shops and studios that are bigger companies.
Mm-hmm.
The studios kind of own the landscape to a degree.
Yeah.
But the majority of the workforce, both on the acting, the talent side
Yeah.
and on the production side,
Yeah.
the crew, it's gig workers.
Yeah. It's so true. And that's when you look at it that way, you go, man, they've run a long time in that realm. And so I think it's breaking the mold just even in your own mind, right? Maybe you had an idea from day one of like, it's going to be like I'm going to have 50 employees and this is going to be success, and giving yourself permission to snap that in half and go, oh, that's not serving me anymore. Like that doesn't work for me.
I think that what a lot of entrepreneurs, or at least in my experience, what some entrepreneurs don't do, and I didn't do, is think specifically about what you want out of life. Because when you're thinking about your lifestyle,
true, Daniel.
Then you can determine what fits that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be totally oriented towards the business and engineering a successful business, but if it doesn't fit your life, you're never going to be happy.
Yeah.
And and there were things that that I didn't realize until I got older in life and had more time on the road to kind of figure out what I wanted.
Yeah.
And what I do love running a team, having a team of people that are highly creative, people that I trust.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love being able to exercise my own creative juices as well.
Yeah. That's the hard part about having a creative bent to yourself as well as the entrepreneur bent. And I think I wrestle with that too a little bit, in the sense that you go, I can and kind of want to do all of the, to use your brother's analogy of building the bikes, you kind of want to build the bikes.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But also I really enjoy the sailing and the business and like helping you build the bikes, and then we build something bigger. And it is a wrestle, right? Like how do you keep your hand on the pulse of those things? Like, cause probably 3 years ago, I vividly remember telling my dad, I was like, I just want to build, I want to edit the video. I want to be the guy that does the thing. Right. And like 2 years after that, I'm kind of eating my words going, no, I kind of want to hire somebody to do that so that I can do this over here.
Yeah.
But it is like, there are days much like when I step back into like security and always finding myself trying to blow that up and go back out to entrepreneurship. Same way with creativity is like, I can't get too far into it because then I'm going to blow that up and move over here. So it's like, how do you balance it? How do you keep the right amount of creative expression and outlook in some way, shape, or form? And I'm asking myself those questions now, right? Like, does that mean that I just play guitar more? Like go find a band and do some cover band gigs or something, right? Like, is that what that means? Or does it mean I do some client work, but only specific types of client work?
I mean,
it's a balance.
And everybody's different, obviously, but there's a possible reality where you could do literally no creative.
Right.
And there were points in time where we were cooking with gas. We had fantastic clients. They were keeping us busy. And I was spending my time on legal issues, accounting issues. There's a leak in the office. Basically the things that, when you have an advertising agency, you hire a copywriter, you hire a designer, you don't hire a maintenance man. You have to be a pretty big ad agency to hire a maintenance man.
Yeah.
So you're the maintenance man.
Correct. And
there were eras where I was literally doing nothing like advertising and no brand creation. And I don't actually mind that. And I don't dislike being, to me, that's creating something too. It's just not the end product.
Correct.
And I like engineering, kind of optimizing the system. And I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I still need to get my hands in the sauce.
Yeah.
Right. I still need to have an influence on, I want to create a really great ad campaign or really great.
Yeah. You don't want that to go out and you have no idea what's in it or what was a part of it, or like you had no
that's not
say in it.
satisfying.
Like that's not what you want to do.
Right.
You don't want to be so stuck in legal that you forget that part.
Exactly.
You want to come over and go the last 10% even, if you will. Like, okay, yeah, I like that. Let's tweak that a little bit. Okay, that's good. Now ship it, and it still feels a little bit like you had a say in it.
And then the other thing is, I never felt, even when I had some of the best people that I've ever hired, I never felt like my standards were met.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, that maybe that's delusional, but there was just so many occasions where I'm like, you should just go a little bit further with this. Let's push this a little bit more. Yeah. And the only way to make that happen is to be involved in the process, because I'd hire these designers that were just incredible designers on their resume. Obviously, you're picking and choosing what shows up on your portfolio site.
Sure.
And then they get an engineering firm to brand. And they're like, this company is boring as shit. They didn't like my first idea that I really loved.
And that's the hardest part, man.
And so then they're just phoning it in.
Yeah.
They're just, using Legos, and that's it.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, this is your chance to create something for a company that will otherwise be the most boring organization on earth, unless you come in here as a creative person and change it for them.
Yeah.
How do you do that for your clients? I mean, do you ever have times where you're able to really push the client a little bit further?
My personality makeup's a little different than yours, Daniel, in the sense that I'm a little more passive, if you will. There are days that I got to tell myself to actually have more opinions on the final product and different things.
The opinions are in there.
Yeah.
They're
in there. They're just not. They haven't reached the surface enough yet. And I'm starting to get there as a leader of people. I'm starting to get there, but it'll take some more personal development. And sidebar, that is part of the process too, of the entrepreneur like safety balance thing that you got to do. Like for me, I look at it and I go, in 10 years, if I turned around and looked back and I said, what helped me become the best version of myself?
Yeah.
Staying in this safety net or moving out on my own. That's kind of a little bit of a litmus test that you can kind of play, because like if I don't go out on my own, like I think I'll just become numb. I'll stop having opinions. I'll slink back to the back. I'll sloth my way through life.
Yeah.
And when it comes to stepping out on your own and digging into stuff, now all of a sudden you become like the hardship turns you into a bigger person, a better person. You learn things. And to your point, even like you grew this organization to 22 at the largest point of, you had all these people on your staff and all these things, but you didn't know that didn't necessarily serve your life or the things that you wanted until you got there. And you went, this isn't really it. Let's pivot.
Yeah.
And you could. And so ultimately that's a sidebar to this whole conversation of like, find the thing that makes you go, I'm going to be a better person when I go down this path.
Right.
And it's hard to look in the mirror and do that, but ultimately. So back to your other question. Yeah, I'm a little more passive in my, like, I want to hire an editor and I want you to do I want to hire the editor that's better than me when I hire them, and they push my ideas, like even further. Does that always happen? Yes and no, in some way, shape, or form. But I think for me, it's looking in the mirror when the editor sends me the first draft and going, okay, I can ask for the small tweaks or the things that I think, like you were saying, like you still have your hand in the sauce, but like, let's make this 10% better. Let's push this a little bit further. Let's go a little bit harder on this, and not be afraid to do that.
Yeah.
Right now, I probably would say that 20% of the time I'm a little afraid to do it. Yeah, I let some things go.
There are, as I get older, it gets harder and harder for me to avoid pushing people.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a more of an outspoken type, but I also I think I have the same what's it called? What's the um, lack of confidence disorder that we
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. I have just a touch of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
It's like a little sprinkle, right?
It just got sprinkled in right at the end to just make things interesting.
Somebody told me once that it was a daughter who will not be named said Dad has white man confidence. And I'm like, okay, well, and I heard this secondhand. So she's listening to this right now saying, Mom ratted her out. She said,
uh-oh, somebody told on me.
but I'm like, yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Mm-hmm. And then there's this little sprinkle of imposter syndrome right on top.
Yep.
And so, there's been times when I want to push someone, but I'm like, this guy or gal that I've hired is an expert.
Yeah.
In some cases has been in the business longer than me. I remember I've had some people that have been veterans in the business.
Yeah.
And I want to push them too.
Yep. It's just in the back of your mind.
And then I'm like, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And and as I get older, it gets harder and harder for me to
Well, I think for me, the way that I battled against that, because I probably have more of probably a cup of imposter syndrome more than a sprinkle, but the thing that's helped
the container's only 2 cups.
Yeah, it's only
like
2 cups. It's
container.
It's crazy. But for me, what I've tried to do, and I'm not always great at this, but what I've tried to do in my own personal development, leadership development, is go. I was the one that put the shingle out to say we're in business.
Yeah. Yeah, and you took the risk.
I'm the one that did this, and you might have the expert opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You might even be right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to get a little bit more in me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody should, but a little bit more in me to go, no, I want it this way.
Yeah. The way I look at it is, and this is what I have to tell myself, because I'll be in the situation that you're describing, is I took the risk and got this client.
Mm-hmm.
This is my client. You're an expert, and you might even be right.
Mm-hmm.
But in the situation that we have right now, you have to prove it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say it in a way that's dismissive to that person.
No.
But that's the scenario is you got to prove to me. If you disagree with my opinion, give me reasons.
Yeah.
Give me validation. Help me understand why your idea is better, whether you're an employee or a contractor or whatever. Yep. And then when you convince me, we will go with your idea.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm in this role, you have to convince me. I'm the guy.
Yeah. And my default, and this is what I'm trying to overcome a little bit, and my own is my default is, oh, you're right, so I'll let it through.
Yeah, yeah.
And
it's easy to do that.
And I think it's a little bit of the iron sharpens, right? Where it's like, okay, let me push back, and then if you push back again, maybe there's a place in there that we're not even either of us are seeing. Or to your point, you're right. Let's go that route. Yeah,
because you've convinced me.
Because you fought for the idea, you convinced me of the idea, all of those things, right? But that's a balance. It's funny because I think we're similar, but a little bit of the different on the spectrum.
We're balanced differently,
But it's still so true, and it is fighting. It is fighting for the client's best interest and making sure that, a boring company is not presented boring. Yeah. You go, come on, let's push this. Let's go for this, and you only get there with kind of a little bit of fight.
So what do you think about the direction that marketing is going? And I have an answer to this, but I want to know what you're picturing. And I'm bucketing your business and mine.
Yep.
We do different things, but they interact and intersect.
Yeah. What I've been kind of saying right now, and to your point earlier about podcasting and the longevity of that, and everybody's a podcaster now, including your wife's hairdresser is a podcaster now. But for me, what I'm seeing is we're in a big trust recession, and people are just kind of burnt on the fast-paced, in-your-face, let me sell you this, let me offer this and twist this thing around and do this.
Yeah.
And so I think as a video production, that's what we started out as, a video production company, and we're going, what is the best for the clients that we have? And I think in order to build trust in today's market, you have to have long-form conversations.
Yeah.
What we're doing right here. If somebody listens to this from start to finish, they're going to understand the way I joke, the way you joke, the things that we stand for, the way that we just spent 10 minutes talking about our bents and how we people are going to consume more of your content in order to start to build trust with you. And so if you sit down and you have some really good conversations that help them, that presents their idea, that helps them overcome some things, that teaches them some things, ultimately they're going to know, like, and trust you way faster than if you're putting out social media clips, if you're posting a couple of little short, bullet points online. That's why we really say right now, trust is down. So what do you got to do to build that up? You got to just be in front of them more.
Yeah.
And yes, it doesn't mean that you don't do the short form content, or you don't write the blog, or you don't write the paragraph clips, if you will. You ultimately do all that, but how can you do this more?
Yeah.
Right? How can we sit down with you more? And so, yes, everybody's podcasting now, but let's just take the word podcast and move it to the side and just say, let's just have more conversations. Right? And when you and I sit down and have this conversation, we can build trust in greater paths. Like, obviously it's not going to be overnight. We got to work a little harder at it than maybe we did 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago when you started. I don't want to date you.
20 years.
Don't want to date you, man. So 20 years you've been in the business, right? And so I think for me right now, everybody's optimizing for podcasting. That's why we suggest it. YouTube obviously is huge as the second largest search engine. Now they're huge in podcasting. I was with a client the other day. All 6 of their team members were there. And I said, raise your hand if you've watched a podcast episode in your living room in the last 12 months. And 5 of the 6 of them raised their hands. And then the other guy said, yeah, my wife has, so it was like 100% of people have watched it in their living rooms. I've heard rumors that Netflix is getting in the game of podcasting.
Wow.
Like,
that's crazy.
The Golden Globes, I heard, just started giving awards out for podcasters, right?
Wow.
So
the Golden Globes.
The thing is huge. And so I think the word podcasting might have been hijacked a little bit. When you say that, you think everybody has a little bit of a different understanding of it, but basically it's long form conversations, right? Around a topic, around an idea.
Yeah. And it's radio basically, but it's not just radio because it's TV.
Correct.
I have been, when I think of podcasting, whether it's video format, audio format, whatever, I get more and more excited about the whole idea of understanding people better.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have always enjoyed doing is just getting to know a person.
Yeah.
At a restaurant, over a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
But as a professional, I also want to do that.
Yeah.
Because what I do is marketing. And in marketing, you have to understand your client really well. And I care about how they tick. I care about, I can't tell you how many times my clients have said, you really get what we do.
Yeah.
And most people don't.
Yeah.
And it's not because of anything other than I give a shit and I listen.
Yeah.
And
a little bit of curiosity, you make it happen.
And then that helps me to do my work better because that's what marketing is trying to, let's take that who you are and how you do the work that you do or create the product that you're creating, and let's make it into something that connects, that people can connect with, that people can sample that experience in some way.
Yeah.
And so I get excited about podcasting as an important component, whatever podcasting means.
Yeah.
Just an important component of the marketing landscape.
Yeah.
But I also think about marketing and I try to I try to think about what it's been all along.
Mm.
And for most of the history of marketing, it has been an interruption to what somebody wants to be doing. So if I want to drive down the highway to get to vacation, I am interrupted by billboards that are trying to sell me something. If I want to watch a TV show, I'm interrupted by ads selling me something. If I want to listen to a interview or watch an interview or whatever format, variety show or whatever, I'm interrupted constantly with people selling stuff. And so I think that because it's 2026 now and the world has, technology has democratized the access to creative work, I think that the marketers that are going to win are the ones that think like the creators and not like the interrupters. Create the thing that people want to interrupt. And I, as an advertising exec,
that's a bar right there, dude. Like, that's so good.
But think about it. Like, if you can create a podcast and influence the people, the things that people are interested in, because you've got expertise, you've got, product placement is maybe a component, or maybe you just happen to be wearing this tall slim guy.
Tees.
Tall slim tee.
Shout out to my clothing line.
Yeah, not a sponsor. But then as soon as we're interrupted with an ad, it's like, okay, great. That's a good idea. That's a way to sell something. It's an important part of the what pays for the business. But that's not what people want to listen to. People are never going to fast forward through that conversation that we just had. They're going to fast forward through the interruptions.
How often have you been on YouTube and an ad pops up that's baked into the it's their own ad, and you just hit the 10 plus, and then you're back to the conversation, right? It happens all the time. And that's why with our clients, we really suggest that I guess to say that I 100% agree with what you're saying there. Like you have to think of it differently. And I love the way that you said it. I won't say it as beautifully as you, but to make the thing that people want to interrupt. Right. Like that's really cool to think of it that way. And ultimately, that's why we say with our podcast clients, it's like, okay, you have to have strategic calls to action throughout. Like, your business has to be the sponsor of the podcast, right? Like, it's not just your business's podcast. Your business sponsors the podcast that's happening. So have those engaging conversations. Have those things that actually help people. And then give them opportunities to go deeper with you as necessary. Right? Like, cut in an ad in the middle of it. Okay, cool. And if somebody fast forwards it, great. If they don't, they get to hear it. Pitch it as we're talking. Like, hey, if you want help with your podcast production, reach out to us. Like that kind of thing, right? And that's what I see, and why I've probably doubled down in the podcasting side of things for our video production agency is because I'm like, man, this is the way to do exactly what you laid out. Is to become the thing. And you don't have to have 1 million downloads to actually make a business thing work here. You can find a very niche kind of audience of people that engage with you, that are interested in what you have to say and want to do business with you because of it. And that's the leveraging piece that we have there. That's so beautiful.
The when you think about podcasting is this generic thing. It tends to be one guy talking to another guy. Fine.
Right.
But it is creating an immersive experience. A lot of times people listen to podcasts because they want to learn something. Maybe it's because they want to feel connected. People are, you said we've lost trust. I think we've also lost connection. I think those are the two things that have really inflicted.
They go hand in hand
world.
Too.
Absolutely. Because if you can create connections with somebody and have conversations, then you can solve the world's problems. And I mean that literally, because we have divisive politics, all these even just public health
Yeah.
has been over the last 5 years, starting
Yeah.
with COVID, was this
Yeah.
thing that divided people
Oh man.
into left and right. And the problem is not that either side is wrong. The
Correct.
problem is that the sides aren't talking to each
Right.
other. The problem is
Right.
that there's sides.
Yeah.
And I think that when you have that opportunity to sit down and get to know someone, sit around a fire with them, sit around a meal, it changes the way you perceive
Drastically.
that whole thing
Yes.
that you don't agree with.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't change the fact that
Well,
you
yeah,
disagree on something.
they become human again.
Yeah.
Because at first, to use your left-right analogy, right, they're just the far left or they're just the far right, and
Yeah.
they're those people and they're those
Exactly.
things. And when you sit down across the table, all of a sudden they become human again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a conversation does, to your point.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing that we need to do
Yeah.
more of.
And I think that so Spotify pays Joe Rogan, I don't remember the number,
Ungodly amounts
$300
of money.
million
Yeah,
or
it's
some number,
something
some
crazy.
big number. It's that many digits, whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
to have exclusive rights to his podcast for a
Mhm.
year, and then to have him host with them for thereafter. Some big deal, because people love listening to podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because people are craving connection.
Mm-hmm.
They want connections in real life, but they
Mhm.
also want to feel those connections that they can't have.
Yeah.
And so when you listen to a podcast, like obviously this one's Truthache is one of the biggest podcasts in the world. Second biggest is probably Joe Rogan.
Yeah, it is. Overtaken him recently. So congratulations on your success.
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Maybe the Daily, New York Times, the Daily is pretty big. I don't know. It's kind of a smaller one by comparison. But anyway, but people want to just feel that connection, right? And
Yeah.
these laid back, Call Her Daddy is another one that's really popular for mostly women listeners. These laid back conversational podcasts are because people want to feel connected. People want to consume media and be entertained and all that stuff, but they just want to feel that sense of connection.
Yeah.
And that gives them an opportunity to feel that sense of trust.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, think to use Joe Rogan. I mean, he's had some people on, obviously very polarizing across the board.
Yeah.
And maybe because you like Joe's podcast, you listen in, and maybe you go, "Oh, that guy's still an idiot," or "No, that there's some
it
cool
actually makes
conversations."
sense. Yeah.
And then to your point of like, he has like a music artist on,
Yeah.
and they're telling all these stories of how songs are written and all the things, and you're just like, I loved your music already. Now I love it even more. Right. So to your point of just feeling connected, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's so good and it's so true.
So what do you do with a boring business that for the life of them, they can't imagine why anybody would want to listen to their shit? Like, I don't know, like a job shop that creates nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I'm going to give this analogy, and I'm going to give them a shout out, though they might take it a shade for a minute. But one of our clients is a water utility company.
Okay.
And they do a podcast on water.
Go on.
Bro. When was the last time you said, you know what I need in my life? A podcast about water.
Well, what if we had another beer?
Then that would be epic.
We've got another beer.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's have round 2.
Yeah. Okay. I'm here.
But anyway, tell your story.
Okay. So the story is while you bust those out of the water-filled cooler there, this podcast is all about water, and cheers to them. Oh yeah. They sit down and they talk about the first question they ask all their guests are, how did water find you? And what they mean is, how did you get into the water industry? And dude, I've been producing this podcast for about a half a year now, and I've learned so many cool things about the way they work and the way it functions and flows, and other businesses that I didn't even know existed in the world. Yeah. And I've taken ideas about how they work as a company, and I've applied it on my own company. Like, dude, it's a podcast on water.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? So the same thing to your point of, I make nuts and bolts for a living. Talk about that. It all goes back to the fact that you are an artist in that reality. You are an artist in that. And if you talk
Yeah.
about what excites you about it, you have other folks on in your industry and you talk about what excites you both about this idea of the thing that you do. Like now all of a sudden you're going to find other people that go, hey, I'm in that industry, or I know things about that, or I'm
Right.
interested in that. And now all of a sudden it becomes bigger than just a podcast on the nuts and bolts of your thing. It's a conversation, a connection,
Yeah.
a trust building mechanism that allows people to connect. And dude, you can find your audience. And will it be Joe Rogan style? Will it be the daily, what would you say, the Daily Wire or whatever? Like, would it be that big? Yes, no, maybe so. But ultimately you find your audience of people that it goes back to the old book from Seth Godin, The Tribe. The Tribe, I think is what it's called. Yeah. But finding your people. And that's what this is allowing us to do in 2026.
Yeah. I saw a video one time from a law firm, and I'd be curious if any of the listeners recognize who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to name them. So great law firm, that one of their clients was a pretzel company. And the video, 2-3 minutes long. It was just about this pretzel business.
Yeah.
And it showed this family-owned business, these people back behind the counter making fresh pretzels and talking about, how they have started their business, what kept them afloat, what made the difference over the years.
So cool.
And then standing at the counter as the camera pans over, you see this attorney dressed casual but professional, right? Like ties off, but he's got the jacket on. And he says, these are the kinds of clients that we really love.
Yeah.
We love to see, the ways that we can help keep your business alive. And it's important to us that we, do our part. And when I saw that video, I was like, somebody finally did it. Yes. Somebody finally created a video for a company that you don't want to watch a video about.
Yeah.
And they made it make sense as to why you would. Yeah. Because it was interesting. It was a story that needed to be told.
Well, and the viewer, they go, I'm not in a pretzel company, but that's me.
Right, exactly.
That's me. And you, as that lawyer said, that you fight for people like me. Yeah, if I need you, or if and when I need you, you're my call.
I've always said that, I don't know if I've always said this, but it's been a long time that I've been saying it, that marketing is about it. Marketing is just the umbrella I'm under.
Yeah.
Telling really fantastic stories is more about the viewer or listener being the main character.
100%.
Right? And when you make a good movie, like I'm really obsessed with unpacking how stories are told in a movie. The structure of a story and that kind of thing. And when I watch some of the best, some of the best movies that are out these days, I'm thinking of how they created these archetypes and the characters. Yeah. And there's always someone that's you. Yeah. Right. Every time you watch a movie that you like, there's someone in there that you're like, that's me.
Yep.
Or that's me if I was a superhero.
Yeah,
or that's
for
me
sure,
if I
for
was,
sure.
When
I dream at night, that's me.
And that is great marketing / filmmaking / storytelling, whatever. Is how do we make this about the listener or the watcher, the audience, and not about some brand?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of, like, if you see now, like, brands are trying to get as personable as possible. The CEO is on Instagram, right? The CEO, you try to put a name and a face to it. They have mascots. They have different things to kind of humanize the experience a little bit. And that's the beauty of that, is they're trying to bring in the story.
Yeah.
And the storytelling piece is just, man, that's everything when it comes to this. Because story moves us.
Why is that?
I think story hits us so well. I think you made a major point of why story is important, is just because we find ourselves in it. But ultimately, a good story has a hero that has a desire, that they want something. And then usually a guide comes along and kind of helps them understand and see their potential, what they could do. Obviously, there's stakes involved. They could succeed, they could fail, right? Like all basic storytelling is in that in some way, shape, or form.
The hero's journey.
The hero's journey, right? I think it speaks to us because I think all of us know that there's something inside of us, that there's more to it, right? There's a journey that we need to be on.
Yeah.
And we might watch a story about a ring that needs to be returned, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately we're seeing ourselves
which I just do my Amazon returns at Staples. Like, it's so much easier.
It's so much easier. Like why go through all this hard work? But yeah, ultimately, like, it doesn't matter what the storyline is that we're consuming, we see it in the sense of, man, there's something in us, right, that could be into more.
Yeah.
And that's what stands out when you ask me that question.
And I like the subtle things of a story that are not said, right? Because when you have, if we think of it as a commercial, somebody standing has a cleaning supply and cleans their toilets, and they're standing in hero pose afterwards, right? And nobody has to say, this mom just felt like the most powerful person in the suburbs. They just see it. You feel it, right? And nobody, that part of the story doesn't have to be told. It's shown.
That's good.
And I think that that happens in movies. It happens in every form of storytelling. But that's the thing. I mean, even just this conversation here, it's long form conversation. We're talking for a good while, but there's so many things that people will hear in our voice. They hear the excitement when you start to talk about the way that story moves someone. And part of that is more unpacked through the feelings that somebody has listening to this.
That's good. That's a good point. And I think story's just been, I think it's just wired in us. I mean, it's the longest, before there was written language, there were stories being told, and there was a way you passed on history and passed on things that were important to you, and passed on beliefs and passed on. So I think it's just, there's something deep inside of us, I think, that's naturally drawn to it anyway. That's kind of intangible. Oh, sorry. But ultimately, it just moves us to a different place, and that there's something beautiful in that.
Yeah. So if companies can get better at telling their own stories, I mean, this storytelling phrase is overused.
Yeah, it's
we got to come
hijacked.
up with a new term, because people saying, "Oh, I'm a storyteller," is just exhausting.
Yeah.
But I haven't come up with a better phrase.
Yeah, it's a tough one to. Yeah, it's like when a word gets hijacked, it's hard to. You go, I mean that, but I don't mean that.
I don't want to sound.
I don't want to say that. It's like, it's so hard. But yeah, I mean, it's similar to podcasting too, right? Like, it's podcasting is more in the storytelling and the bringing into.
Exactly. So the technology changes. The technology changes all the time, because I remember when I first started in the creative field, blogging was
it's huge.
Everything. I mean, like, if you didn't have a blog, whether you were just a person with ideas or liked reviewing records or marketing, your business or whatever, it didn't matter. You had a blog that was the key to connecting on the internet. And then short form came
content
out, and then it just ripped us away from blogs, because we're like, hey, it takes too much time to write a blog, but I can write one sentence with abbreviations.
But the thing that ties all of it together, from blogging to short form content to long form podcast to all of the things, it is, to use a word that has been hijacked, is storytelling. When you were blogging, you had to learn how to be a better storyteller. You had to engage people on a level that made them continue to read the thing. When it became short form and everybody's like, you got 3 seconds to get somebody to stick around, It was figuring out how to tell a better story in a very short amount of time, right?
Yeah.
Now, long form content, obviously, it's not as like specific, but to your point, in our conversations, there's probably a myriad of different stories
There's
that
an
have
arc,
kind of
yeah.
been woven together.
Okay, with short form, I actually have a big beef with short form content
Sure.
because I think that it ruins the whole experience of a story. To
Yeah.
get somebody to follow you on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
Engage with your content, you have to create hooks.
Yeah.
It's something that is funny, hooky, aggravating,
Mm-hmm.
a hook or whatever it may be, but it is all about
Something to
how
get
do
them
I
to stop.
just
Yeah.
get you hooked
Yeah.
for a moment, but only for a moment, and then it's over.
Yeah.
So that's where we get this whole idea of clickbait is you have these headlines that don't deliver.
Yeah.
I could get you to click on it because this headline, caught your interest, but it doesn't deliver on the back end.
That becomes the integrity of you as the entrepreneur, as the marketer, as the business owner, that now whenever it is like, you could come up with crazy titles, but if your hook doesn't deliver, your trust is blown out the water from the get-go, and they're not going to connect with you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Right. So ultimately it is, how do you take the practice of, grabbing good headlines or good hooks, if you will, to get people to engage longer in the content, but ultimately deliver on the thing that you promised at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
And that to your point, though, it is way overblown. I mean, if you scroll Facebook or Twitter or any of those things, even the news, like there are people that have gone to school to figure out how to get you to click on the article by the way that they say things.
Right. Yeah. I feel like the hooks of headlines and clickbait, whatever, has diluted people's interest in long form content.
Yeah.
And then that craving has kind of crept up to the top, and that's why podcasting is taking over.
Yeah.
But what I was originally starting to say with that whole topic is that it was blogging, and then it was something else, and then it was something else, and then it was something else, and now it's podcasting and YouTubing or whatever else.
Right.
So there's all these different ways that you can create some kind of long form content. And there are countless formats as well. You can have, performance art, or you can have conversations, or you can have documentary style stuff.
Yeah.
But the technology changes all the time.
Yeah.
But like you said, storytelling has been around forever, for as long as there's been human communication. So, and so when people realize that, they can, I just always want people to separate themselves from the technology. People say, hey, we should start a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why should you start a podcast?
Correct.
And if the answer is, I want to get to know these people that use our product, one of my clients is doing a podcast. She'll be on the show next week, and she's a career coach, and she's creating a systematized career system, a coaching system, or what's the best way to describe it? It's essentially productizing her one-on-one coaching into tutorials and online content and newsletters and videos and that kind of thing. And like a masterclass type of thing.
For sure.
And she is creating a podcast because she wants to highlight the stories of the people that have thrived because they finally figured out what their potential was.
Yes.
Right. And so she's like, I don't want to be the star. And I'm like, you've already got the right attitude.
Yep.
She is focusing on that, that her client, her customer being the hero, being the star.
Well, and what's beautiful about that, and this is why, we have a whole podcast called Coaching with Content, because we believe as a coach or consultant, that is your best way of coaching, right? Is to get on there and to have the conversations with your clients. And you say, how did you get from point A to point B? And what they're going to naturally do is they're going to talk about your service, your product, your process, your frameworks, your thing. And you're just sitting there going, right? And it literally is like that. There's gold in all of that, right? And so to your point, like, your client's not going, I want to be the star of the show. In fact, they're going, how do I get to the back of the thing? Like, I want to help people succeed, but how do I get backseat? No, they sit in that guide. If you want to use storytelling language, right? They sit in that guide person, the
old classic Donald Miller,
Donald Miller, right?
story brand.
Using the guide where they come alongside of the hero of the story and they say, you're made for more. You can do this. You're on this journey. And when they help them succeed, now they just put a highlight on that.
Yeah.
And that's so beautiful. And what's even cooler is she has all those stories, but then when maybe she can't get a client to come on the podcast, she sits down and she teaches one of her frameworks. Hey, when I was working with X person the other day, we walked through this framework and this is how it works. And if you're sitting at your desk today, walk through this framework with me and it's going to change your life. And she does that. And she's just teaching the process that she took somebody through. Now me as the listener, I'm blown away. I'm at home taking notes, doing the thing. One of our clients the other day did this exact thing. It was him and a co-host, and they took each other through one of the frameworks that they use. It was like a personal check-in thing, like scoring your week and your month. They did it together on the episode. First time I had ever experienced their coaching in this. It was our first production day with them. And I got done and I was like, man, I'm over there like trying to take notes on my day, where would I score myself on these? And it was just so beautiful. And it let me in to their process. I understood what they were doing. And it even got me to a place where I was like, man, maybe I need to reach out to them.
Yeah. I feel like if you understand something, it's easier to buy it. So when something is complicated, elusive, mysterious, too hard to do, it does, you think, I don't know how to fix my plumbing issue. I'm going to hire a plumber.
Right.
But if I understand the issue better, I'm going to feel more comfortable hiring that plumber.
Correct.
And when you have stuff like business coaching or some other service that has some ambiguity to it, there are things about it that you don't understand. It makes you hesitant, especially if you don't know why you need it yet. And when somebody can say, let me just talk you through how this works. And this is free. You can take this and use it for yourself
100%
without hiring me. But if you need help, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I feel like that increases the chance that somebody will hire you. And that's why my marketing approach has always been, let me write articles, post content on social media, talk about it on a podcast or whatever that gives away my method. Take it, use it on your own. And if you succeed, that's great. If you need help, I'm here for you. And that has been one of the best ways to drive business.
Oh, man, that is one of the greatest ways to drive business, because ultimately I always joke, me, my brother, and my dad, we don't know how to use a hammer or any tools in any way, shape, or form. We cannot fix nothing.
Agree.
Right?
Agreed.
Agreed. And yes, we
I've
are
seen those butterfingers.
Horrific at this stuff, right? And I can go on, something breaks and you got to fix a sink or something. I can go on and I can watch some video tutorials and I can learn how to do it. That's how I learned how to do video production.
Yeah.
I watched tutorials and I tried it, right? I could figure out how to fix the sink if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I watched this guy on YouTube and he fixes it real fast and he goes, do this, do this, do that, do this, do that.
Yeah.
And I literally go, how can I hire this guy? Where's the number?
Where's the
number to call to have you fix this so that I don't have to, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same idea that, yes, we give away our frameworks or our process or the thing that we do. We give that away because ultimately the client or the person that you want to work with is going to come up against it and be like, man, I tried it. I got 3 weeks into it. I can't. Can you just help me do it? Yeah, absolutely. We will partner with you on that front. And it's the same idea in business coaching or marketing or whatever business that you're in. If you can just get there and just go, share your process. Share what you do.
Agreed. Agreed.
It changes things, man. It does.
All right. I want to ask you about something I've never asked you about this,
Oh boy.
and it has nothing to do
You're a
with...
straight shooter too, so I'm scared,
You
man.
better believe it.
Oh boy.
Tell me about the naming convention for your children.
Oh gosh.
First of all, for the listener, let's hear the names.
Let's hear the names.
all
I
your
got to take you down the names. Okay. I love the fact this is fun. Okay. So my oldest, her name is Story Cash. So Cooper's my last name. So Story Cash Cooper. Then my oldest boy is Vinyl Drew Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Indiana Wren, my next girl. And then our youngest boy is Valor Ward. Okay.
Okay.
So let's start with Story.
Just baller names.
Dude, I haven't got a lot of things right in my life, but I feel like the naming of my children, like I might go down in history. So I'm just gonna say that. But
you have to admit, there's reason to challenge you on that. There's reason to question whether you got it right.
For sure.
But they're
weird.
powerhouse names.
They're weird as all get out. Yeah. Yeah, I had on one of my bios for a while, dad of 4 with weird names or something like that, because it was just, you just need to know. But no, Story Cash. So Story was from my first wife, her and I. This is our only daughter, and Story came from, and this is going to really not only date me but also make it really weird. But if you ever watched M. Night Shyamalan's Lady in the Water. Did you ever watch this movie?
No, I haven't.
Dude, weird movie.
But that's one of the great filmmakers. So.
Bro, M. Night Shyamalan is a storyteller, bro.
Yeah.
So this story was the weirdest. Like, it was supposedly a nighttime, bedtime story that he told his kids that he brought to life in his imagination.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, weird. So this lady comes from under the water, which is a swimming pool of this 5 or 6 apartment building that this guy's a super of, and like all this stuff, right? The lady that comes from under the water, or Lady in the Water, her name was Story. And I remember watching this movie, this weird movie, and the only thing I took from this movie was, that is the coolest name I've ever heard. And so when it came to naming my first kid, my then wife had a list of names. All these names, right? All these
Gladys,
yes,
Carol,
Sarah. No, we're not doing that.
We can't do Caroline, because then every time Sweet Caroline comes on, everybody's going to be like, "Bring Caroline out."
This is awful. So I didn't set out to name my kid a weird name, but she asked me. She goes, "What is your list of names?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't just pick one off of your list and just go with that. Like I have to have an opinion." Says a lot about myself, right? But I go,
you do have to have an opinion.
Yeah, I know. The only name, I said to her, the only name I've ever heard that stopped me in my tracks was Story. And she was like, oh, cool. So conversation had, it ends up becoming her name.
Yeah.
But we wanted a musician, I've already stated.
Johnny Cash.
I said, we got to have a middle name. So we said Dylan, we said Cash, we said Hendrix, we said all the things, right? And Cash, Story Cash just had a ring to it.
It had a ring to it, yeah.
So we went with it. That is what it is, right? So then, long story short, new wife. Now we have 3 kids.
Skipped over a lot there.
Yeah, skipped over a lot. There's a lot in that break there. But the second kid comes up, and now I'm like, I have a daughter named Story. I can't name my next kids to like our
Linda.
joke, Linda or Ben, things like that. So again, right before my first son is born, I'm listening. A buddy of mine has a guy on his podcast, and his name is Vinyl, and now they spell it. It was a family name. Not vinyl like the record, but like Vinal or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, again, Daniel, this moment, I get stuck going, that name, the second time in my life, this name has caught my attention.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't think anything of it. Find out we're pregnant a few months later or whatever. And so I say to my wife of like, hey, Lauren, what do you think about the name Vinyl? And she's like, absolutely not. It's like, okay, all right. So we go on. She has a list of names. We're going through those names. We're just trying to figure out. And no joke, dude. A few months later, she comes to me and she goes, I can't shake vinyl. And I'm like, is this happening? Am I winning? Have I officially,
you're winning at something.
have I named my children? Like, will I be 100% at this point? Will I be 100%?
Yeah. You're 2 for
And
2.
so we go through, and lo and behold, I said I would spell it like vinyl record, VINYL.
Yeah.
You know. And so she's like, hey, it's your first boy. You know, do you want to name it after yourself or anything like that? So we walked through, and well, my middle name's Andrew.
Okay.
So we're like, what if we just shortened it to Drew? Yeah. So Vinyl Drew had a ring to it. We went with it. Okay.
And this is how I named my first company. You know, I was sitting on the couch, and there was an accent wall in our house. It was red. All the other walls were some neutral color.
I remember this.
And my wife and I were trying to think of names, and we came up with 100 names and didn't remember. We didn't write anything down.
Yeah,
and I was just like,
what did we say the other day?
I looked behind me, and I'm like, red wall, maybe. And she was like, no way. And
see, the wives are always against our best ideas, man.
But the next day, that was the only one that either of us could remember. Because there's
so
this
good.
big fucking wall.
Oh, it's
right
so
there, just
good.
like, you know, calling out.
It's
to
just
us.
like, here it is. That's your name.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, it's funny because our kids' names now at this point, it's like if you look up the meaning of names and like, oh, I named them Daniel because it's like something.
The Lord is my right
something
arm,
like that.
you know,
We're like, your name's Vinyl. If you look it up,
it means plastic.
Like, yeah, you literally go like the flooring, like most people.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because there's an age bracket that happens. People are like, oh, like the record. But then you get to a certain age, they're like, flooring? Like it switches, you know. Yeah. Anyway. So Vinyl came along, and I was feeling good, dude. Like, all right, we're good.
Okay. So what comes next?
And then next girl comes along, and we're like, okay, Story Cash, Vinyl Drew, what the heck are we gonna do? That rhymed. I didn't mean it to rhyme. But it was just like, I don't know what to name.
Yeah.
And obviously, people were giving us names, and I'm a musician, so they're like, you should name it Lyric or Harmony or things like that, you know? And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And people would always say Indie. You should name it Indie. It's like, that's so everybody. I have Story Cash Vinyl Drew. I'm not naming my kid Indie. Mm-hmm. And long story short, we went back on a bunch of names, and it was like we came up with Indiana. Obviously, now we live in Indiana. It was a little weird. We were like, I don't know, does it work? But her name's Indiana Wren. We could call her Indy if we wanted. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I'm never calling her Indy. I'm calling her Indiana. Now I just call her Indy.
That's so much easier.
She's the only one that has more syllables in her name. So it's Story, Vinyl, Indiana.
Yeah, that's right.
And then so she just got shortened to Indy. So she's a little Spitfire, and she's totally an Indy. But Indiana Wren, now my wife's name's Lauren.
Okay.
So we just shortened that.
Cool.
Right? So we're like, okay, cool. Now we got Drew, we got Wren, and then we had an accident. And now our fourth child is coming. Her third, obviously my fourth. And we're sitting there, and we're like, what do we do? We have darn run out of unique, interesting names.
Yeah.
So the joke was we were just going to name him like Steve or something, like so basic and all that. And so we got to a place where we talked through. We actually loved the name Vance. Okay. And we love the VV thing, like Vinyl and Vance. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But to your point earlier, politics pretty large. Mm-hmm. Vance was now
It's
VP,
now a divisive name.
Like that could easily, everybody goes, and let's just say it this way. If you follow my wife on social media, you know which way she leans. So it was very much like that was going to be you name after certain things.
Yeah. There was going to be too many questions.
And I'm like, God, I can't do that. I love Vinyl and Vance, but I don't.
It is a good name.
I don't like what's going to happen just because of the climate of the world. So that just sent us on a tailspin, man. And the dude, we were like 2 weeks out before he was born, and we were like, "What are we gonna name this?" And we didn't find out what gender he was until he showed up. So we had to come up with multiple names at this point. Well, we landed in the hospital like I basically said, once we see him, we'll kind of know. And we had Valor as a name, and I was like, dude, Valor is awesome.
Yeah, that is a good
Well,
name.
we had run out of middle names to abbreviate with. And so really what helped us name was we kind of went through and we had a girl name picked out where the middle name was going to be after my wife's sister. Okay. And then the middle name, if it was a boy, we decided that Ward, because my dad's middle name is Edward. My grandfather's name was Edward. Like, let's do Ward, follows the shortened abbreviations, and also gives an O to whoever that is.
Yeah.
And so, dude, we had some great names. But, dude, matching Ward with a name is difficult.
Yeah.
We had some. So my wife's middle name or maiden name is Temple. Mm-hmm. And we were like, oh, that'd be a cool first name, like Temple. But if you call it Temple Ward, he's getting tricky. He's getting taken away, in straitjacket or something. But so long story short, we came back to the VV name and came up with Valor, and it was Valor Ward, and that just had a ring to it.
Yeah.
And it made sense.
That's a powerhouse name.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, one of my good friends, his dad's name was Victor, I think. Mm-hmm. And he was like pretty tough, huh?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Something about the like one. Vinyl and Valor. It's just like, yeah.
But also, I mean, it feels Scandinavian. It feels like
yes, like you and I totally.
You and I are these tall, light skinned guys with. It feels like we could be carrying spears around.
Yes, I'm here for that. Yeah, we joke that like Vinyl Drew, awesome name, but if he grows up to be an accountant, that's going to be like
that's no good.
It's like, oh man,
like he needs to be in a rock band.
Yeah, it's got to be like yeah.
I feel like do you feel like names set somebody on a path or no? I
yes and no. I thought that for a long time, but I used to think it in the sense of what it meant. Like if you name somebody like Valor, obviously bravery and all the things, like you're going, oh, he's going to be brave. And he's, like I could think that a little bit, but also I think the naming, it holds some weight, but maybe not as much as I put on it in my early years. So
here's what I think. I think that it's not zero because so what you name someone, it's just a name.
Yeah.
And what matters is, do they feel loved? Mm-hmm. Do they get opportunities in life? That's it. And you can name somebody, the goofiest name.
Yeah.
If they feel loved,
Vinyl Drew,
they're going to feel good about themselves, and they're going to succeed in life. But what I do see studies on is that there are some resumes that are basically hiring managers are biased towards resumes.
Biased towards certain names.
So what you'll find, and this is an older study, so I don't know how accurate it remains. But
this is interesting. I've never heard this before.
It used to be that people with traditionally white names would get callbacks more often than traditionally ethnic names. So minorities of whatever kind, black or maybe other ethnicities. And the presumed reason is you're more comfortable with a Michael than you are with an Obama,
Well played.
Whatever.
Well played.
So names have an effect on how somebody views you before they see you. And I think that it matters, like if they can pronounce it, right? So like my daughter's name is Kaya. She was on the podcast last week. We did a rare family appearance.
So fun.
Her name is spelled Kaija. Her middle name is Mattia.
Okay.
So Kaya,
if I'm reading that on paper,
you are going to have a hard time pronouncing.
I'm going to struggle with that.
Right. So it is going to complicate but not prevent her success in life. It's just going to create this little thin layer of complication because people never spell it right.
Yep.
They don't know how to say it. They're afraid to say it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if Gladys comes in the door, it's like, I know what Gladys is. Obviously she sounds like a grandma, but she's but I know how to pronounce her
and
name.
has white hair, but you know.
So and you see like these movie stars, they change their name a lot of times.
It's interesting.
Like, depending on what name they start out with.
Yep.
A lot of people,
Yep.
their name, I can't think of who.
Yeah. Isn't George Clooney? That's not his name.
I don't know if that's his name or not.
I want to say I heard that, but like was shocked by that. Like I didn't realize that.
It's such a regular name, even though I don't know any other Clooneys. It sounds regular. George Clooney, right?
Yeah.
I think Harrison Ford was one that
that
somebody said to change his name, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to," and it turns out to be the right move. No.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm good."
Hopefully, somebody fact checks us on that.
Yeah. Please do.
But
send that to Daniel at.
Yeah, but there are some names out in Hollywood that it's like I had no idea that person had a totally different name.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that wild?
It's because your name is part of your currency, right?
Yeah.
And especially for someone in Hollywood, because it's like, do I recognize that name as the star of this movie that I'm going to maybe watch if I like the actor in it?
Yeah.
So Aziz Ansari, I mean, it's unique, but that's a hard one to say if he didn't have a certain amount of success to get him past that barrier.
For sure. He had a larger barrier than a Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But ultimately he had a barrier and was able to overcome it.
Yeah. So you need to have I guess an easy to process name, but it has to be unique enough.
Yeah.
So Brad Pitt, you don't know any other Brad Pitts. But I know I'm on the board for a nonprofit called the Bonner Center. James Taylor is the CEO.
Dude, he's an amazing songwriter.
He is really good. He is really good. And obviously, he got a repeat name. Imagine being named Michael Bolton.
Yeah,
you must love Michael Bolton's music if you share his name.
Yeah. And he's like, man, I hate that guy.
Oh man. But
dude. Well, and doesn't that play into the fact of like, naming your company and naming those things too? Like, obviously, like I think of Apple as one of the things. Like, who sits down and goes, "I'm going to name my company Apple."
Yeah.
But
you got to find the balance between uniqueness and remember something that people can remember. They can see.
And to your Redwall conversation, it was the only name you remembered the next morning.
Yeah.
So you're
and there's no question on how to say it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a engineering company in town called Freegee or something like that.
Oh yeah, I've done work with Freegee.
And I never am sure if I'm pronouncing.
Don't know if that's the right way of saying it or not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they're some German company or whatever, and that they've been named that forever, and they just started up here in the U.S. or whatever.
Right.
But it is a barrier when you're unknown.
Yeah, and I've never thought of it that way of like when you're nervous to say somebody's name and what that does to you.
Yeah.
Like really, like when you Freegee.
Imagine. Think of it this way. I think everything can be distilled down to some of these simple ideas, things that happen in high school. Imagine you're picking somebody for your team.
Oh,
we're dividing up the group into two teams.
We're sweating now talking about this just because we're all nervous. We've all been there.
Because you might have gotten picked because you were tall.
Yes.
Okay.
I had an unfair advantage.
When it comes to basketball, people that are tall get picked first.
Yeah.
But also, what about the person whose name you're not sure if you're pronouncing right?
Yeah.
You're not going to say that. You're not going to pick them.
Yeah.
And you're not going to point.
Yeah. You're like,
that's
I'm not doing you red hair. Come here. It's so it doesn't work.
It just puts that person at a disadvantage in that scenario. And I think that plays out into the way that things happen in everyday adult life.
You've never made me second guess my children's name before until just now.
I'm glad.
We're renaming all of them. Ben, get over here.
We're going to have to change all their names.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh man,
That's awesome.
well, we've been at this for almost 2 hours now.
Holy cow. Seriously?
Yeah,
Look at us go, man.
this time flies. What are you going to work on this week? Next week? First week of the year.
Next week,
First work week of the year.
we're gonna timestamp this as first week of the year next week. Next week, obviously this week I've been getting kind of my goals in order, kind of some of the things I want to see happen in 26. But next week it's kind of like just dipping your toe back in the water, getting back into it. There's a lot of our new podcast offer that we're putting together, this podcast launch offer that we're doing that I want to start to get out in front of people. So it's going to be, hey, we're looking for a handful of people, 3 to 5 folks that want to kind of test run this with us. Discounted price, obviously, and just going like, how can we make this better? What helps? What doesn't? Really looking at the first 90 days of the year. They always talk about the first 90 days being like that kind of like
the
sweet spot. Yeah. And so how can we inject some money, into what we're doing, get the right people on the bus? There's a handful of things that like I looked at last year and go, I don't want to do that anymore. Like I need to do better at that. So how can we address those? And man, it's just, I just believe in this format, right? This long form conversation, you said a couple hours, right? There's tons of, we talked about naming, we talked about marketing, we talked about video, we talked about podcasting,
expert
all that
content
stuff, right?
And just hanging out as
well.
Yeah,
man, it's so fun. And we just believe in this. And we feel like when, especially in our kind of niche, if you will, of coaches and consultants, or brand driven businesses, if you will, that when they do the hard work of finding their voice, and creating their art, if you will, just beautiful things happen. And so we want to partner with folks this year that they go, man, maybe I haven't used my voice in the way that I thought I should, or, I'm not doing as much as I could be doing. Okay. Well, let's do the hard work of bringing that to life, So yeah, I think this week is a lot of just kind of like planning, setting all of that up.
Setting the year up.
Into it.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Be good.
Thanks for coming out. Good
Dude,
hanging.
Always good hanging with Mr. Daniel Herndon.